Hello, this is Mike Lanier from the Let's Roll podcast from CarShowNationals.com. I should say powered by CarShowNationals.com. We have my co-host here, Jeff Thisted from Motor Trend, Hot Rod Power Tour spokesman. Good guys. You've been busy already this year. And we're here with Scott Lambert. Yeah, we're here with Scott Lambert. He's the president of the Greater Metropolitan Automotive Dealers Association, which you would be the producer of the Twin Cities Auto Show. Am I getting that right?
That's right. We own the show and we put it on every year.
Nice. Let's see. I read that somewhere last year you had about 700 cars. Is that the right number?
Yeah, that's typically what we get. We've moved venues and we're all dealing with a inventory shortage, so it's been interesting. But we were outside this year. We moved from the convention center to an outside location, and we got to beg, borrow, and steal vehicles right now because nobody's got any vehicles anywhere. So we'll get north of 500 vehicles for sure, but we never really know until they roll off the truck what we're going to get.
And just to clarify, this is auto show, not car show. Because I've had a whole bunch of people over the years like, well, what's the difference? Well, car show is when I take my hot rod out to the car show. And auto show is Twin Cities Auto Show, LA Auto Show, Detroit Auto Show, where you get the newest, latest, and greatest from the manufacturers, Chevy, Ford, Dodge, Alfa Romeo, all that stuff, to the auto show.
That's true, and it's a good distinction. We're showing off new cars. That's the idea, is to show off what the factories have that's new and coming out. Now, in doing that, we have classic cars and we have other displays, but it's all about showing off what's new to the consumers.
Very good. Yeah, I Chevy for years. Go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
Yeah, the auto show they're doing a really good job with classic car groups and different car groups around the Twin Cities. So they've been doing that for quite a few years now, and get the younger kids involved too. So that's good. See what you guys have been doing with that.
Yeah,
you guys are you doing the project car this year? I was going to read all the 7 pages of information I had.
No, we're not doing the project car this year.
Okay.
We will have classic cars. We'll have a classic car walk. People bring in. We'll have different days. We have a Corvette day, a Mustang day, a Camaro day, that sort of thing. We're also having a Careers in Cars Day where we're bringing kids in, high schoolers and technical college students to try and show off. This is a good industry to get into. It'll pay your college bills and raise a family off the kind of salaries that we have in this industry. And so we've got that going on. A lot going on at this event this year.
So how can they find it? What are the dates of the auto show, Twin Cities Auto Show?
Thank you. It's May 14th.
It's TwinCityAutoShows.com?
TwinCitiesAutoShow.com. The dates are May 14th through the 22nd. It's a 9-day show, covers 2 weekends. Nice, okay. And if you come to our show, you're going to have an experience. And it's going to be hard not to, at some point, ride in a car on some level. We'll have Camp Cheap. We've constructed our own truck track. We've got the biggest EV display in the country in terms of EVs that you can ride in drives. So there'll be a lot going on. We're going to make use of the fairgrounds, which have their own kind of infrastructure and road system. You'll be in a car if you come to our show, guaranteed.
Oh, very good. Now, are there any, is it available if I've got a valid driver's license, can I sign up to test drive? Because I know back in the day you could test drive the new Bolt EV or the new Corvette or whatever it was. So you can test drive the new car. Because one of the things I know that some people don't know, instead of going to the dealership and having the hard sell, hey, you need to buy this truck right now, sign on the dotted line, there are product specialists at the auto shows that know more than the dealers that have to go through training at the manufacturer, and they're not trying to sell you anything. If you want to learn about the car, that's a no-pressure way to learn about the new car that you may want to buy.
That's right, and I'm not going to say that there's somebody smarter than my dealers, because I do work for the dealers, so we can't throw them under the bus. But yeah, these are the display personnel are trained on all the specifics of the vehicles that they're showing off. And yeah,
well, they're product specialists.
Product specialists, yeah, thank you. And they'll be able to answer any questions. And yes, if you bring your driver's license, you'll be able to test drive just about everything new on the market especially in terms of electric vehicles. Last year we had 4 vehicles that you could test drive, electric vehicles that you could test drive, and then the Mach-E was there as well. Ford Ride and Drive. This year we're going to have 14 vehicles that you can test drive, and the Mach-E will be back again in the Ford Ride and Drive. In addition, Chevy and Toyota will have their own ride and drives, and we'll have our own, as I said, our own truck track. Minnesota is a very truck-heavy market. 90% of the vehicles we sell here are trucks, so new vehicles.
No way, 90%?
Yep. We way outkick the national average. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Now that includes pickups, SUVs, and some minivans. It depends on what bed is, but it's an apples to apples comparison around the country. So we sell a lot of trucks.
I'm a Chevy guy, and I'm not necessarily an electric guy. I like internal combustion engines, but I've seen a lot, and one of my friends is Maria talks Chevy. She's on the new electric Silverado. Will that be available, or the new the HV, the electric Hummer, electric Humvee? Will those be available for?
We're still trying to get a Hummer, honestly, for the show.
Okay.
We will. It's odd because they've been advertising the Hummer for 2 years. We still can't get one. They're just not producing any. The Silverado, there was only one in the country, is what I'm told. And I walked past it at the NADA convention, and if I'd known that was the only one, I'd have stopped and taken a picture next to it. But apparently it's something of a celebrity. So no, we won't get that. We will have the new Ford Lightning.
Okay.
And dealers will be receiving those later this year. And that's the only pickup truck in the market, the only electric pickup truck in the market today, fully electric. So that'll be there. That has a range of about 285 miles told, which is a little skinny if you're going to be driving electric. A truck in greater Minnesota, we still have to cover some distances here, especially in the cold weather. But it is the first pickup truck available, and it's going to be exciting to have at our show.
Very cool. So are you an electric guy or internal combustion, or are you agnostic?
Well, we love, if consumers want to buy electric vehicles, we're happy to sell them electric vehicles. So we're all in on this.
I'm asking you personally, Scott.
Me personally?
Yeah.
I like my trucks, and I like a combustible truck right now. It'll get me where I got to go. It'll start in the winter, and I can get to my cabin and haul my boats and all that kind of stuff. So I'm probably not there yet in the electric craze. I need a truck to do this.
Have you driven them, the electric vehicles?
I have not been in an electric vehicle yet. No, I've not had an opportunity.
I'm a hot rodder, and Mike and I were out at SEMA together last year, and Motor Trend took Project X. And if you don't know what Project X is, it's a 57 Chevy that's been around. It's the most hot rodded car in existence. And they took out the big block or the LS, and they put in this electric motor, and people are losing their minds over it. You've destroyed this historic car, but now it's the fastest it's ever been. I'm not an electric. Like I said, I like internal combustion engines, but these electric cars are stinky fast. And at the Good Guys Autocross on Sunday in Scottsdale and in Del Mar, what won the autocross? A Tesla, a 4-door Tesla. And in I think it was Scottsdale, the Leasingers in their big nasty their Corvettes, they put down this number. Nobody touched it all weekend long, and then Sunday, a Tesla comes along and matches the number. It's like, come on, you bought it off the line. Yeah, well, it's got sticky tires. They may have sticky tires, but it just doesn't make sense to me how these things are insanely fast. They just don't have that soul or that the noise, the smell. They're nuts.
What my dealers tell me is that the performance on electric vehicles are incredible. That they perform
incredible.
And it's kind of the fit and finish of these vehicles that they're still figuring out, especially the Teslas. They're a little, they can be kind of rickety. You got to be a little careful as a consumer that everything's been tightened down on it, for lack of a better word. But I am fascinated with the Mustang, with the Mach-E. I mean, I was one of those guys who was offended Always been a Mustang guy. And I was offended when they turned that into an electric vehicle. But the more I see it, it's a really handsome car. And everybody who drives one says that it's a lot of fun and it's like riding on rails when you're on it. So I'm hoping to try and get into one of those this year at my own show.
Well, I'm curious to see about that. You said the Lightning truck is going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think not necessarily a game changer, but I know that the Silverados have got the big console, and you can they've got it made so you can put hanging file folders in it. And it's literally an office on wheels. You've got the Wi-Fi, you've got all your plugins. But now I know that the Ford, the Lightning, has it's an auxiliary port in the back where you can plug in different things. So it's now even more so of a mobile office. No matter where you are, you've got an electric power supply to plug in your laptop so you can get to work. I want to see that up close in person and check it out.
Yeah, no, I'm told they set it up in the bed so you can actually draw power from the vehicle. If you're trying to light up a camp, your camping equipment or something like that, you can. It acts as a power unit all by itself. So that's pretty interesting.
Super.
That's very interesting. Yeah. But one thing Jeff talked, we were at SEMA and Jay Leno was speaking, and one of the things he said is, you sit in California traffic, and Jeff's probably familiar with that, but sit in California traffic for hours. And, how about have an electric car, drive that during the week, and then have your classic cars on the weekends? I thought, I never thought of it that way. But Jay's all in. He's been doing some work with Ford, so.
They're really neat. What I'm concerned with is the infrastructure that I don't think it's going to be able to withstand if we get double or triple more electric cars. California already has rolling blackouts. It can't handle the electricity needs right now. So how are you going to keep up with that when you've got another 100,000 people with electric cars? How is that going to affect the houses, the residential market? So anyways.
Yeah, they have a ways to go, I think. But I just found out, I don't know if you know this, Scott, but at the Target Midway, they just put in Tesla chargers.
Everyone was
talking about that yesterday.
No.
Yeah, so I just heard that yesterday. So, it's happening. It's just take a while.
We're advocating through our national association a universal plug, and that's one of the problems with the coming of the electric vehicle age. And this was a big education for me. Not all the plugs match. Pulling up to an electric charging station may not work for your particular car. So you gotta know not just where they are, but where they are that works for your vehicle. So that's a big problem. Right. This is the Midwest, and not everybody has a car in a nice garage where they can charge. People park on the street. People park in apartment complexes. There's a massive amount of infrastructure that needs to get built if they want to get anywhere near the numbers they're talking about.
And it's interesting you brought that up because to me it goes back to I'm very old, so don't attack me. But remember the old Sony Betamax? You got VHS and Betamax. There's no standard, so then the consumers kind of have to figure out what the standard is. And if there's no standardized plug, I never even thought of that. That's a great point.
Yeah, and I'm sure Tesla would like to be the standard, and I'm sure everybody else would like to be the standard. But I think this is where government has to step in and just make a decision and have everybody build to that standard. But I think having these competing plug and charging stations going on, it just complicates all of this horrifically.
Have you heard of is it the Rivian? The Rivian starts with an R.
Yeah. They're not out yet. Yeah,
I've seen a few of them out, and a friend of mine, Charlie, has one up in Northern California. And his quote was, all right, I'm not going to say his last name, but Charlie owns this Camaro that is my holy grail Camaro. It is just evil. Charlie is going to sell his Raptor, his Ford Raptor. To me, the Raptor is Chevy ain't got nothing for the Raptor. That thing is a full-on incredible truck right off the showroom floor. And if he's getting rid of that for this Rivian, he said it's amazing. It'll ford water. It'll go however many miles. And to me, that's pretty much the gold standard or an endorsement.
Well, that's a lot of faith in a new technology. Rivian is different than what Tesla does. The way they set up they've kind of got electric motors, if I understand it, for each tire. It's kind of like it's kind of like four different motors going on for each corner of the vehicle. And I'm told it's cool. No one's seen one. They're not available to the public yet. There are a few models about, but they're not selling these yet to the public. So, and you never know if a company is, it's a startup company. You just never know if they're going to make it or not. So there's a leap of faith to be one of the first early adopters for that.
100%.
Right. Well, when we were at SEMA this last year, Jeff, I saw one drive by, and everyone's like, "What is that?" And we didn't even know what it was, and then I found out what it was. But yeah, I saw one actually drive right on the road in Vegas, straight by us.
Well, they look odd. There's no grill.
Yeah.
Many of these electric vehicles, right? So they look abnormal. It's like, well, that can't possibly operate. That gives it its unique look.
That's why
it's
Teslas. Yeah, those Teslas remind me of Keanu Reeves in The Matrix.
Yes.
And his mouth gets shut. It's like there's no grill on it. I'm used to a grill.
Yep.
Yeah, a little different. But Tesla's making the fast car. The S-Plaid, one of the fastest production cars out there. So pretty amazing.
They own the market. They've owned the market for a few years, and they're going to face a lot of competition in the coming years to be the coolest, especially in the luxury area. But I think for electric vehicles to really make it, they got to get out of luxury cars and get into kind of standard cars that people drive,
right?
To suit their lives.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting why they picked the luxury market first. I suppose it's going to cost a little more until they can get the cost down. It's going to be probably more of a luxury until they get it down.
Yeah, one of the first ones I got to drive was in San Diego a few years ago at the auto show, and the Bolt EV. And as a product specialist, we got paid to go drive them. And there was one of those, I forget, I don't know if it was an RX-7, but there was a Mazda and I forget what the other car was. But off the line, I got them both in this little Bolt EV. And the other driver was very angry with me. And it's like, hey, they're peppy little cars, and they get good mileage. Yeah, the torque comes on all at once. Oh, yeah, and there's I forget the guy's name, Dan, but he's in San Diego at the Good Guys Del Mar. He built a Cobra. It's a Cobra replica fiberglass body, and he had a Tesla E85 motor in it, and it had so much torque, it twisted the frame, and the front wheel would come up 3 inches on the passenger side. It was, he wanted me to drive it. So after the show, I drove it. Now he's got 2 motors in it, and it's all-wheel drive. He had the thing is a monster, but it's silent. So it creeps up on you. You don't hear anything, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, geez, there
it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they talk about putting noise in these just so, it's kind of a safety issue, but we'll see what
I think they should.
Yeah, I was trying to get out of the fairgrounds, and there's people walking in front of me, and I'm like, I'm not trying to be a jerk or anything, but they didn't say, hey, what are you doing? It's like, get out of the way, stay out of the road, but there's no noise. So unless you either honk at them and then you're a jerk, or you yell, hey, get out of my way, they're completely quiet. They're ninjas.
Yeah. So I had another question for you, Scott. So is the auto show going to be outside from now on? Have you made a decision on that, or is it going to go back to the convention center?
We have not made a decision yet. We're, we moved to the fairgrounds to take care of the pandemic issue. We could not have an indoor show last year. So we moved to the fairgrounds. It worked well. And the crowds were not quite there. We're still in the middle of the pandemic. So we'll see how it goes this year. I will tell you, it's a lot easier to put on a show at the fairgrounds than it is at a downtown convention center. You can spread your wings a lot more, right? There's more elbow room. You can do a lot more interesting things. We've adapted a much more experiential show because we're at an outdoor environment, and we can construct our own truck track and things like that. We've got a monster truck coming that's going to crush cars during the show, and we're the only car show in the country that does that. It's just a crowd pleaser. Every 12-year-old boy in the Twin Cities is going to be coming to ride, and you can ride in it, and then you can watch it crush cars. You can
ride in it?
You can ride. They got one you can ride in. You don't ride in it while they're crushing cars, but you can ride in one. And it's a huge, huge hit. We did it last year as a big hit. You'd never be able to do that in an inside venue like the convention center. You don't have the space, and they'd never allow you to do something like that anyway. So we're liking what we get to do at the fairgrounds. Now there is the weather issue, and it's 40 degrees right now in Minnesota, and we're hoping for better weather by the time our show comes by in 3 weeks. So there is that risk, but so there's a trade-off. We'll see how it goes this year.
So is the Twin Cities Auto Show, is that the only outdoor show out of all the auto shows that there is right now? Rare thing?
Detroit did one this year and I didn't go to it, but I guess it was at a racetrack. And it wasn't in Detroit. It was outside of Detroit.
Right. Belle Isle.
Say that again. What was it?
Belle Isle, maybe? That's their.
I think that sounds right. Yeah. But I think, we're the only fully outdoor show. Most of our displays are in tents or out of trailers. So
how does that work then with this sounds silly, but security? Because you've got these brand new cars. Some of them are EX VIN numbers. Some of them are super low VIN numbers. Some of them aren't even out yet. I knew the Corvette Z06 is probably going to be there, and that's not out yet. So security-wise, do you have to have a lot more security, or how do you keep the great unwashed masses away from these new?
Well, we want the great unwashed masses to come during scheduled hours, but otherwise, otherwise we lock down the fairground. We own the fairgrounds for this 9 days, and we lock it down, and we have 24/7 security patrolling the fairgrounds. No one's going to get at those cars. If they try, they won't make it.
Fantastic. One of my worst experiences that I remember the Z28 a couple of years ago, the last generation Camaro Z28, full on almost race car. It's a $75,000 car, and I'm walking around, and there's an 18-year-old kid vaping in it.
Oh,
like you, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Yeah.
Adios, amigo.
Yeah, there's always going to be someone like that. Yep. You see all types. When you put on a public show, you get the public. You never know what they're going to do.
Exactly.
I'm trying to remember last year, were the cars all locked up because of COVID? I can't remember. I thought they were.
You can get it. You could get in the cars. It goes back to what corporate wants to do, what their policies are. But most of the vehicles were open. You could get into them. I mean, last year the Ford Bronco was sort of the big deal. We had the short, the big Bronco, and then the short box Bronco, and then the kind of regular, more SUV Bronco, and you could get into those. I know.
Okay.
The Grand Wagoneer we could get into last year. That sort of thing. So you'll be able to, the idea of an auto show is to come in and touch and feel and smell and experience the vehicles. If you're looking for a certain type, if you're looking for an SUV, you can go from brand to brand to brand to brand and do all the comparison right there. That's why people come to the show. Most of our attendees are intending to buy.
Yeah, with no pressure to buy. You can just learn about it.
It's not a selling show. Yep.
Not at all. Yep.
No, we do not sell vehicles at the show. But most of the people coming are intending to buy in the next 6 months to a year. So there's a lot of people doing shopping at the show, but they're doing it on kind of on their own pace.
But just a little suggestion from your old Uncle Jeff here: if you do go to the show and you are a parent, the cars aren't a playground for your kids to jump around in and climb all over and treat them like a playground. Please respect the cars. And you are, more than welcome to get in and push the buttons and switch the knobs and check everything out. But don't let your kids run amok, please.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for that reminder. We do have bouncy houses. If the kids need to blow off steam, we got a place for that to happen. They don't have to do it in the car.
And that's where the product specialists are before the show, the bouncy house.
Right.
Yeah, they do. I've been going to the auto show for, so many years. So I just love going. I love the auto show. It's usually earlier in the season because it was indoors. So the switch to May is, maybe hopefully we'll have good weather.
Yeah, it is a bit of a risk. That's the one thing we're risking is weather. But the funny thing is when we moved to an outside venue, a lot of the displays had problems with that. They're not built for that, the factory displays. And we've had to remind them that they actually build these vehicles to run outside. That's where they're supposed to be anyway. That's where God intended them to be was outside. When they market them, they show them running through riverbeds and going through, snowbanks and all that stuff. And when we told somebody they have to park one outside, their first reaction was, "Can't do that. We can't put one out. Park it in a parking lot and leave it. It'll be okay." That's where they're supposed to be anyway. So we're getting less of that pushback this year than we did last year. Not quite the shock it was last year.
So as far as rankings go, I'm trying to think if I remember, it was the Twin Cities Auto Show about like 12th largest in the country. Do you know the number on that?
We're the 15th largest market in the U.S. In terms of how big is the show, there used to be 4 A shows. It was L.A. and Chicago and Detroit and New York. And Jeff, maybe you know this. And with the breakup of the pandemic and everything that's happened, there aren't any A, B, or C shows anymore. There's just shows, and everybody's trying to put on the best show they can. The Chicago show is much, much smaller than it used to be. I know New York just happened. They're not quite where they used to be in terms of show business. Detroit has had trouble getting a show off the ground for the last 4 years. They did their
they were going to change from January to June or something, which is not even auto show season. And I thought they were going to move from Cobo Hall, which is like Cobo is Cobo.
Yeah, exactly. So they were in the middle of a transition when the pandemic hit. So they've had a heck of a time getting the show off the ground. And I know their producers, Rod Alberts, he's done an amazing job getting something that the consumers could come look at. But it's been hard, and I think there are just shows now, and we've tried to adapt to the German brands are not as interested in going to auto shows anymore, so we've all had to adapt to that. We don't understand that. I think if you want to sell vehicles, this is where your buyers are at auto shows. So we're kind of 100%. fighting some of that, and then just the whole pandemic issue and corporate. The manufacturer policies on where they can go. Some of these companies still have travel bans going on. So there's all that we got to fight against. So the show business has been sort of beat up in the last few years, and we're hoping to put that behind us right now. And we're just coming out. Everyone's trying to do the best they can with the locales that they have and the conditions they have to operate in. So it's interesting business.
The Twin Cities Auto Show is going to be outside of the fairgrounds. Are there mandatory masks? Are they optional?
No.
Not mandatory.
Okay.
It's always optional to wear a mask. If you want to wear a mask, you always can, but there's nothing mandatory anymore. There's no in the couple of buildings that we do have, there's no crowd limits or anything like that. We were fighting that last year as well. But no, everybody can just show up. You don't have to wear a mask. And the beauty of our show is that we've got state fair food available, so you can get your corn dogs
churros.
and your churros, nachos, chocolate chip cookies, and So all of that is available this year, and we looking forward to taking care of everybody.
Fantastic.
Cool.
Yeah, I like the what do you got? Those classic car corrals, the car walk.
Yeah.
You said Corvette Day, Camaro Day, Mustang Day.
Jeff, we'll have to get you out here for the show. We'd love to see you out here.
That'd be awesome. Do they come in, and are they there the whole 10 days, or do the Corvettes come in and it's Corvette Day on Monday and then they're out and the Camaros?
People should go to our website and make sure that if they're looking for one of those days, they should make sure they're on the right day. Well, there you are right there. Very good. So we can't force people to bring their car for 9 days. So some of them are coming in and leaving, but we will have daily parades. Something else we can't do at the convention center. We have a daily parade, and we'll be highlighting the car of the day during those parade days. So people should go to our website and plan their day. They're looking for something special. We have a military appreciation day on Tuesday. Military personnel and veterans get in for free.
And Wednesday, May 18th, it's half price.
And Wednesday is half price day. And then Thursday, we're having our job fair, our Careers in Cars Day, and we have a big display about that. And
can you explain a little bit about that, the job fair?
Well, we're like every business in the country, we're all struggling to hire people, and where we struggle is auto technicians, probably our biggest concern. So we're reaching out to guidance counselors and technical college students and high school students and their parents and saying, come visit us. We have people, we'll hire you on the spot, but we'll also, just show you kind of what this career looks like. It's not the greasy, the grease monkey of later days,
And although there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with being a grease monkey, but it's much more technical now. People got to get a better appreciation, and we're a good alternative to a 4-year college path for somebody. We've got a lot of engineers and architects. We could use a few technicians, and it's a cheaper investment.
We've talked to quite a few people. Me and Jeff we've interviewed quite a few celebrities, and a lot of them, work at garages, run garages, and they're saying we need more mechanics around the country.
Yep.
You can make some pretty good money doing that, and with electric, there's going to be a learning curve there too. So.
Electrics are not maintenance free. Electric vehicles still require, in some ways, they require more help because you got to have 2 people working on them. Dealing with if you get anywhere near the battery, I'm told it's as serious as a heart attack for a technician. You gotta know what you're doing to deal with these, and there's still 30, 40 million combustible vehicles on the road right now. We're gonna need auto mechanics for quite some time here. So my dealers are putting on their own displays, bringing in equipment, showing people what it's like to work in a shop for a
very cool. Is that just one day?
One day. It's just on Friday. Yeah, just on the Friday of the show. Yep.
Very cool.
All day. Idea. So yeah, we're looking forward to that.
So just a question for you. Do any of the automotive companies, are they doing any kind of thing to get kids more interested in mechanics? Is there programs they've set up yet or anything like that? The shortages of people.
Pre-recession back in 2009, there was some pretty robust programs by the manufacturers. Those kind of went away, to be honest. The old asset programs and AES and that kind of stuff. There used to be money put into that, and they just don't anymore. And that's everybody had to do what they had to do for their own budgets, but the dealerships are left trying to promote this on our own right now, and that's a good use of their associations like us.
Yeah, because one of the arguments is what's it going to be like in 10 years if there's shortages now and if you guys are doing what you're doing, but the manufacturers, we're going to run out of mechanics. Be a major issue.
Oh yeah, no, there is a shortage of everybody. There's particularly a shortage of qualified technicians. So we want to push people into the tech colleges, get a basis of understanding, and then let us mentor them and get them up to standard, turn them into journeyman mechanics, and they'll make a very good living doing that, I guarantee.
Yes, I agree with you. Yep, that's what we've talked about. Yeah,
everyone needs a good car mechanic.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, you need someone to work on your car. So if you don't know how to do it yourself, sure.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, the shade tree mechanics are a thing of the past. You really don't. The computers and the diagnostics are too complicated. You don't want to be voiding warranties and that kind of thing. You just really need to work through somebody who knows what they're doing, especially your dealer.
Yeah. So one of the things, we had John Gardner on. He does a lot of the TV stuff on Motortron, and he did mention that the battery, which I thought was really interesting, the battery had a VIN number on the battery match the car. So I wonder how that's all going to work out. But I just thought that was one of the interesting notes. Do you remember that, Jeff, or not?
Yeah. I don't remember that. That's nuts.
Yeah.
People are shocked when they see the batteries to these electric vehicles, because it's not like the old battery that you could pull out and replace. The car is built. You guys know this. The car is built around the battery. It encompasses the chassis of the car. If you're going to work on the battery, you got to take the whole chassis off the deal. You need two work stalls. You got one to put the frame, the chassis on, and another one to actually have the battery. And they're heavy. They're super heavy. You gotta retrofit your lifts. You need a forklift that can pick this stuff up and that sort of thing.
The Woodward Dream Cruise last year, there were 10 of those electric Humvees. And a friend of mine, he knows a guy who knows a guy, and you weren't supposed to say it at the time, but do you know how much they weigh?
No.
10,000 pounds.
Wow.
10,000 pounds. So, well, can we park one at your house? No, you can't park it in my driveway because it's going to crack. I don't have that. Yeah. My cement's not thick enough. It's like you said they're heavy, and that's one of the heaviest vehicles. That's heavier than a 1-ton truck.
Well, right. It's going to redefine the way a lot of states tax their vehicles. A lot of them tax them by weight, and it's going to be rougher on the roads. I mean, they haven't really, public policy is not really caught up to how we're going to pay for it, because we pay for roads through gas tax, right? But now we're deploying a heavier.
Well, you're supposed to fix the roads with the gas tax. I think it's all going in the pockets. The roads are horrible everywhere.
Yeah. But as we move into electric, once those percentages creep up, gas taxes are going to be going down, collections will be going down, and you're deploying something on the streets that is heavier, that is harder on the roads. So arguably, you've got to do more.
Yeah. So then it goes to if you're going electric. Like a friend of mine's dad got one of the first 100 Teslas that were ever out, and he had the guy plug in the solar panels up top, and it blew my mind. It's like, wait a second, you're paying for solar, so you don't have to pay for. You're driving the car for free. Yeah, in essence, we are. So they're not paying gas taxes, so they're not contributing to the road maintenance or the highway maintenance. So then, how do you get the electric vehicles to pitch in and contribute to these to the road maintenance funds? That's a whole nother ball.
Well, that's why they're
a whole other problem. And the starting prices are more expensive than its combustible engine counterpart. So no one really wants to add to the price of the vehicle when you purchase it, but they've got to do something about this. They can't avoid this forever.
Yeah. That's why I think there's been proposals about mileage taxes.
Yep.
Right. Yep. Where that's gonna come in.
Yep. And with the computer analytics, they can do that now. That would have been harder in previous decades. But I think that they can probably figure out how many miles you're traveling remotely now. So that's all possible.
Yeah, that's all Big Brother stuff.
That's Big Brother stuff. That's right. People are going to know more about you, so we got to deal with that as well.
You're going to have a local celebrity at the talk about EVs. Paul Douglas is going to be there.
Yeah,
Paul is driving them all.
Yeah, Paul is an old weatherman from the Twin Cities. I shouldn't say old. He'll be mad at me. He's been a weatherman in the Twin Cities, and right now he's on a local radio station doing a drive time. And he's an entrepreneur and has done a lot of green business startups, and he's got a lot of credibility on the subject. So we're going to have Paul kind of help us talk about EVs, and the idea is to get people educated, get people comfortable with it, and educated about it. So there's a lot to learn. We get a lot of questions about these. Someone once asked me, "Will I get electrocuted if I go through a car wash?" I mean, that's a real question. No, you won't. I mean, the answer is no. You won't get electrocuted if you go through a car. But that's, people don't know. They don't know what that means to be an electric car. So those are the kind of questions we got to get taken care of and get people comfortable with the technology. The technology is super cool. I mean, it is really, it's an amazing thing that they put these together. The kind of performance they have. Yeah.
And it's like, to the haters or the hot rodders, the internal combustion engine guys like me, it's like, open up your mind a little bit and go for a ride in one. Because once they hit that throttle and pin you back in the seat, it's amazing. It'll open your eyes, and like you said, the technology is amazing, Scott. So they're pretty cool.
Yeah, no, they are cool. And the dealers are all in for selling them. We just got to get demand up.
That's it.
Right.
But and now one thing I like, because gas prices have gone through the roof, so everyone's now looking at electric.
Yep.
One thing I learned at the auto show. You have instantaneous heat. So when you start the car up, you're already warm. In Minnesota, that's kind of nice to have. You don't have to warm up the car.
Yeah, the one drawback to our climate is that it's cold here, and January and February are very, very cold months, and you'll lose about 40% of your battery capacity in the cold. So that's the one kicker to northern plains states.
So if I've got a new EV and I'm parking it out in front of my apartment, and when I leave it, it's at 100%. If it goes down and it gets super cold, I can wake up and it's got 60%. Is that accurate, or am I making things up?
I think it still has its percentage.
Okay.
The battery is still good, but once you start operating it, it's going to degrade. So then now you've got to turn on the heater, and now you've got to, and the battery just won't operate to its maximum efficiency in super cold weather, in sub-zero weather. So it's just a calculation. Now the car will tell you how many miles you have left to go, but you don't want to get stuck anywhere. And I think you're okay running around the Twin Cities. It's when you get outside the Twin Cities. I have friends who have Teslas, and they love driving them, but they have to stop halfway to Duluth in the winter to recharge. And that's just the reality of the vehicle. Not a cut on it. It's just what it is.
Yeah, and I've seen a couple of videos or posts here and there of different rest stops or different areas that have these Tesla chargers, and there'll be a line 2 miles long of people waiting to get to these chargers.
Well,
that's
a problem because we don't have enough chargers. So you can't just pull up and like you fill your gas tank in 15 minutes. That you got to sit there. It depends on what kind of charger it is, if it's a super fast charger or not. But you could sit there for a couple hours. So if you show up and the charger is busy, you wait.
You got to wait.
You can't let the car go to zero. That's the one thing I know. It'll turn into a brick. You can never let the battery go to zero.
No way.
Wow.
Yeah, they call it the term of art is bricking. It becomes a brick. It doesn't like going to zero. You can't get it back.
Oh my gosh.
I had no idea. Yeah, another thing I find interesting at the Good Guys Colorado show in Loveland, our hotel is the Embassy Suites, and right across the street is the convention center. And in the back parking lot, kind of hidden away, is this, I don't know if there's 10 or 20 of those, the Tesla superchargers. Mm-hmm. And after the show, you're sitting out on the patio having a drink, and these Teslas kind of come slinking in, nice and quiet, and back up and plug in. It's like, there are all these hidden little chargers all around the place.
Yeah.
So it's
you can get little apps for your phone that'll tell you where everything is. I mean, I'm sure Tesla has that. I've seen that on other.
Oh, they've got to, yeah.
On other, and again, but you got to know what kind of car you have and what charger you're going to, because a Tesla charger won't work for most other vehicles.
Yeah. Wow. Universal plug. That's the answer.
That's what we got to do. It's the only answer. You guys write your congressman. Tell him to get that going.
Well, we'll be right on that. All right. Well, it's been awesome. Been fun listening, learning some stuff from you, Scott, and great that you came on tonight or today. So I know you're going to be on with a few people that I know later on, and I'm sure you're going to be interviewed by quite a few TV stations. I know I've seen you on TV before.
You're my best interview so far, guys, by far.
Yeah.
You were the first.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. That's why we're the best so far.
Well, I thank you guys. I hope you both can make it out to the show. If you come out to our show, let me know. I'd love to give you a tour and show you what's going on, what's cool, whatever day you're here. But you're very welcome to come out. And thanks for having me on today. I really appreciate it. It's been a fun talking with you guys.
Thanks so much for coming on. And the people at home can find you at TwinCitiesAutoShow.com. Are you on Facebook or Instagram or any other social media?
We're on Facebook and Instagram. We're on all of that. But TwinCitiesAutoShow.com. Plan your day. If you buy your ticket online, it's $5 off.
Yeah, $15 online, $20 on site. And Wednesday, May 18th is a half price.
Half price day.
And there's free parking all show long.
Free parking. Acres and acres of free parking. So it's one of the other nice things of not being downtown. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there media day. I'm gonna be late, and I'll be there on Saturday.
All right, good. Well,
I'll look for you.
Jeff, try and make it out.
Right.
We'd love to see you.
You got it. Thanks so much, Scott.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Scott.